are you calling bums, pal?
You.
Randy.
Listen, we got 2 more of us in the back seat.
Pity the back seat.
If you're
Stop
looking
it.
for a fight,
I am looking for a fight.
come on, put the
Let's
knife
go.
down.
Come on, right now.
Come
right
on.
now.
We're doing it. Episode 14 of Mission Statements, a Delta Bravo Urban Exploration Team podcast. With my man over here, Rayen Belchere. See? I know things. I know how to say stuff. But you know what? Before we get into it, I just want to knock this out. I just want to shout out my sponsors. First and foremost, Dead Sled Coffee. Follow Dead Sled Coffee on Instagram at Dead Sled Coffee. If you go to deadsledcoffee.com and you type in the promo code Delta Bravo, you get 20% off of your order. And follow them on all the gimmicks on Facebook and all that. I don't have to explain. It's 2022. If you don't know how to look up something, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to teach you. Kevin Bednar, his fellow Delta Bravo dude, owns 3 pubs / food spots, I guess you could say. All 3 of them are sponsors of the I was going to say the Blast Runners podcast because of your shirt, dude. Of the Mission Statements podcast. You're throwing me off. So we have Purcellville EATS, the Purcellville Pub, and the Ashburn Pub. Follow them all on Instagram at Purcellville EATS. It's the Purcellville Pub and just Ashburn Pub. They're all obviously in Virginia. Super good dude. I've only been to one. Well, actually, I've been to 2 spots, not the Ashburn Pub, and I've eaten at Purcellville EATS. And regardless of all that, he's a super good dude, and he does a lot of stuff for charity, and he does his Inktober stuff. And regardless of anything, he's a good dude. So support him if you're in the area. Main Street Jukebox, another Delta Bravo dude, Tom, and I always stay clear of his last name because I feel like I'm going to butcher that name. And as a matter of fact, he has to come on here so we can settle how his last name is pronounced. But Main Street Jukebox, been in business since the mid 90s, mom and pop record store, old school shit, you know. Follow them on Instagram at Main ST Jukebox, and there's a Facebook page, it's mainstreetjukebox.com. And all that. And I don't think I have to say, support The Outsiders. Say, go to The Outsiders House, theoutsidershouse.com. It's Delta Bravo Urban Exploration Team.bigcartel.com. And if you go to the bio in the Mission Statements Instagram, which is Delta Bravo Mission Statements, the link in that bio will send you to a link tree, and every single thing Delta Bravo Outsiders related is all there. All the platforms, all the groups, all the pages, all the Instagrams, the YouTube, everything is there. So Delta Bravo Mission Statements on Instagram. Without further ado, I'm like out of breath already. My man Rayen, how the hell are you, brother?
Jimmy, what's happening, man?
You know, I ran home from work. I had a hectic day, and I ran home from work. I threw myself in the shower. I got prepared, and now I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm out of breath. I'm still winding down from the day, dude. I'm still winding down for the day.
Hey, I'm with you, man. But speaking of the Delta Bravo store, I'm over here. I got a whole shop going on. When my cup runs over, I always try to throw some love and support to the Outsiders House. I got all the hats.
Yeah, so do I.
Black one, the green one. So
yeah.
I think that's the cause I give to. Whenever my cup's running over, I always try to go in there and buy a little something. And
I do too. And I don't know. I have all the House of Pain ones. I have we saw the same Sunset Tulsa hat. I came into this whole Delta Bravo thing relatively late. I'm gonna say my first hit was like 2016, but way before that, there was so many shirts and so many variations of hats. Like the one with like, there's the Nomad's hat, and there's the one with the big DBUET, and then there's one with the American flag on the side. There's so many variations that I don't have. There's a couple that I got that Mr. Joe Schellinger, he was for whatever reason, I don't know, but he got rid of like 2 or 3 hats, so I bought them off him. They don't even fit me. They're fitted. They don't even fit me, but I have them for the collection. You know, another thing Joe gave me, it's a misprinted shirt. It's a Delta Bravo Brooklyn shirt with the Brooklyn logo on the front, but instead of it saying BKLYN, it's like BLKYN. It's like wrong, but that shirt is a large, and I don't fit into a large. I'm like an XL or a double XL. I'll never fit into it, but I have it, and I'll never wear it. It's just part of the collection, you know?
Dude, you got to. I'll show you this. I am on the hunt. I have 2 of the Goonies coins, right? And there's 3 of them. And I don't know where I would even look to find the 3rd one. Were you able to track down all 3?
I got all 3. Which one? I'm missing 2 coins. That's all. There was an initial 10 coins made, like before he started making merch for all the Delta Bravo stuff. I think. Danny, hit me up if I'm wrong. But I believe there was an initial 10 coins with just the Delta Bravo team logo. They weren't shiny. I think they were kind of dull. I know Danny Boy has one, Mona has one, Nako has one, I think Butchie has one, maybe Dom DeMeo has one. I know a few people. I think there was 10. So those don't count. Like, I don't think, because those are for the original. I don't know. They don't count because they're not in circulation for people to have or collect. So those are like out. But I have all of the coins except for 2. I have everything. I need the vintage colored New York City token. There's not a lot of them. I have the shiny gold one. There's a dirtier vintage version of it, and the Johnny Cade one.
Oh, yeah, I don't have either one of those. I have a lot of them, but I don't have either one of those.
Those 2 are the only 2 that I do not have, and it bothers me. It bothers me, dude. Bro, I have 3 shadow boxes, 1 giant one on my living room wall with all the patches, all the heart outsiders, all the patches, the vast majority of stickers are all in that. It's like 3 feet by 3.5 feet, this big ass shadow box, and things are overlaid, and I have variations of shit. And there's the Delta Bravo RIP MCA, and then there's the Delta Bravo MCA RIP, and then there's different ones with different kind of colors to it. I have all of that stuff. I have a whole coin shadow box with all coins, which I got the big, did you get the big square House of Pain coin? It's not even a coin. It's like a hunk of metal that you can kill someone with.
Like these?
No, the big square one.
Oh, no, I didn't get that one.
All right, well, that's like, that doesn't even fit. Like, I can't even put that in my thing. I'm running out of room, and I'm running out of shadow boxes. And then I have a 3rd one, which only has buttons and pins.
No, dude, I think hands down, you have the most complete Delta Bravo collection. Possibly.
Maybe. Dude, I'm a half a psychopath. When I was on this road trip that I talk about all the goddamn time, I feel like, only when I'm on here though, I got a brick from the original stoop of the Outsider's house, right? And then I also got a brick from the wall that's behind Matt Dillon from the 52 pickup spot. So I have these 2 bricks, right? But because I'm an idiot, I go onto Amazon and I locate 2 literally brick display cases. And now these bricks, which are dirty and dusty, are inside a protective thing. Okay. And then that's not even it. I go onto Amazon and I get custom made like metal fucking nameplates. Like, I don't know what it is. and I have it stuck on like one of them's like original brick from original soup of outside his house with the address. Because I'm stupid, and I have all this stuff. I have the 2 switchblades on stands. Today I just got the brass knuckles. That's on a stand. I have a hockey puck that's in a hockey puck display case. I never thought I would ever have to buy a hockey puck display case, but I did, and I have it. It's ridiculous, dude. I'm out of control.
No, dude, that's one of my favorite things listening to the show since you started was learning that you collect stuff from the site. And I dig that. I think that's a pretty cool thing. And well, I'm telling you, when you go out to Spawn Ranch next summer, before you go, I'm going to tell you how to get to where the buildings were, and you can probably bring home enough wood to build your own cabin if you wanted to. Well,
speaking of wood, I got a giant pile of parts of the roof of the DX. Yeah, Gary Colson, the last episode, he sent me a giant envelope. I saw they were redoing the roof, and I asked him, I was like, yo, I'll pay you. I don't care. Like, I just want like a piece, like a little piece, I don't know, 6 inches by 3 inches, like whatever. I get this giant, like styrofoam packaged bag with like 15 giant pieces of shingle in it. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? But now I have ideas. I'm going on Amazon. I'm trying to find certain things a certain size to put it in.
Dude, I love it. But we are a crew of like-minded people, man. I collect stuff, but I've never really collected stuff on the side of the hits.
It all depends on where it is, though, for me.
Yeah, I've gotten rocks. Like when I hit the Wave Cave, the Manson Wave Cave, I had to pick up a rock because there's a rock right, I'm sure to the left of it where Manson would sit and play the guitar. And somebody took a saw and cut like a whole chunk out of it. And there were some pieces, right? I'll send you a video of it, but there were some pieces on the ground. So I picked up a couple of pieces and they're around here somewhere. Mm-hmm. But yeah, sometimes you just have to bring home a little memento. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it all depends. Like the other day, like actually it was yesterday, I'm walking down like 3 blocks from me. And because I'm half a psycho, everywhere I go, no matter what it is, if it's going a little bit of several blocks in the other direction of where I live, I'm looking in case I miss something that I need to hit. But there was a Saturday Night Fever spot that was like 4 blocks from me. I think I remember it was there, but sometimes it's like, oh, it's like right around the block, so it's like whatever. You know what I mean? I can get it any time. So I'm not going to take a piece of like, it's a brand new storefront from an old movie. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like something like that, no. But if I'm standing in the backyard where Lee Harvey Oswald was standing with his rifle, I'm taking a piece of the fence and a nail out of that fence that he's behind.
How creepy is that backyard? I've been to that backyard. There's nothing there. It's like there's nobody watching. And then you step right into the Time Life magazine cover. It's still the same.
Everything is the same. I took a piece of the fence that's behind him, and I had to pull it real hard because I know it's original, but I pulled a nail out. So I have a nail and a few pieces of wood. Like people at my job who know that I do this stuff. Like there's a plumber that works, like he's an outside contractor. He comes to the building all the time. He's like, and he'll be with other people who's like, yo, this kid's crazy. He collects rocks. He collects rocks and pieces of wood. This kid collects gravel. I'm like, you're an idiot. I mean, to you, it's a half of a brick, but to me, that's a half of a brick from the pet store from the original Rocky movie. You know what I mean?
I was so jealous of that when you told that story on one of the podcasts because Rocky's one of
my that's Joe Schellinger. It's one of my favorite things I've ever gotten from anybody.
When I was going back to the JFK stuff, when I was in Dealey Plaza on the grassy knoll, the white picket fence.
Yeah.
I pulled a Jimmy Ferrari. I
have bro. That's another thing in a shadow box in my damn living room, and I bought a plaque for it too. Like I don't know what it is. It's a 22-inch piece of fucking 22 inches. I had to find the right size shadow box. I was going crazy.
Dude, I only took a small piece, so you just took a whole slab of it.
But I didn't mean to. I really honestly didn't mean to. Like when it broke, I was like, oh shit. But then I was like, I'm not gonna start breaking it right there into smaller pieces, and I can't put it back. So what do I do? So I had shorts on because it's 9,000 degrees. So I slid it down my left leg of my shorts, and I'm limping through Dealey Plaza with a giant piece of fence in my shorts.
Yeah, but you know what? You're not the only one, dude. When I was there a couple of years ago, lots of those slats. Lots of people have taken those slats. So
yeah.
You're not.
I was like, and it's like when I'm standing there and I'm looking like through the branches and I'm looking at the X in the middle of the street. It was like that piece of like fence. So I'm like, you never know. Like, dude's gun could have been right next to this thing. You know what I mean? So that's the one I tried to get a piece of.
Dude, I struggle with the JFK conspiracy. I'm like, it was either a guy at the fence or it was a guy in the storm drain in the street. It was one of the two, and I can never decide which one I think it is.
Storm drain?
Yeah, I'll send you a photo. Right, the original Zapruder film. The car slowed down before the headshot, and there's a storm drain to the right that you can get access to, and the gunman could have just sat there and taken a shot. But I'll send you a photo. That was my theory.
But the angle might be way too off.
But back and to the left.
Right, back. Oh yeah, 100%.
So to go back, it's got to come upward, because otherwise. So that's why that was my theory forever. But everybody has a theory about that whole thing. But it is what it is. But Dealey Plaza. So was that your first spot when you went on your trip?
No, the first spot that I hit was, what was it? The water tower from What's Eating Gilbert Grape.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hopping barbed wire fences to get my angle.
I was going to ask you, did you hop the fence?
You goddamn right I did. I can't there's no way I'm walking away. I'm in Maynard, Texas to get a picture of this. I'm all the way in Texas. A little tiny fence is going to stop me? Hell no. No way.
Dude, when me and Danny Johnson met up early in the year in Nashville, the first spot we went to was Hank 3's spot. He was like, "You ready to jump a fence?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, let's do it." So we're hopping fences the whole day. So the Gilbert Grape shot, I knew there was a fence around that. I've never been to it, but the shots I have seen, nobody's ever jumped the fence. So
nah, fuck that. I'm not. I need my angle. I need to mash it properly. Like, there's no way. I have
Delta Bravo does it better. Yeah,
dude, there was nobody there, and where it is, it's like there's a couple of buildings. It's almost like a little alleyway. There's like the road, and then there's buildings, and there's a small like alleyway type thing where people can drive down, but it's not a street. And then there's like all kinds of trees and bushes, and across the street that way is like the general store. So it's kind of almost like the enclosure is halfway secluded. And plus, I'm in a little tiny shit-kicking town, and it's mad early. Bro, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning on like Saturday morning. It's like, what's going to happen to me? What are they going to tell me? Get out of there, kid? All right, then I'll get out of here. But give me a second. I need my angles. You know what I mean? Yeah, there was no way I wasn't going to hop that. That's just like Waco, like going onto the Branch Davidian compound. I was not, for a minute, I thought I was defeated. But I'm like, there's no way. I can't walk away from here without doing everything I possibly can to gain access. And I'm not just going to trespass and hop the wall there. That's the spot
right
where that place is. And you're in the middle of Texas too. You know, I could have disappeared forever. You know what I mean? Forever. Because that place, the Branch Davidian compound's in the middle of nowhere. So, and it even says, like, there's no trespassing. We're not responsible for you, even when you come on here. Even, like, we're not responsible for your belongings, you, your pet, your mother, nothing. So, I wasn't, and I got on there, which was insane, too.
That's always been on my list. I want to hit up the compound, but I've heard, like, there's people that tell me they're so welcoming that it's crazy. And then I've heard people tell me that, okay, so that's what it is.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude, you just just don't come off like an asshole and you'll be fine. Like I was super polite and, you know, and I once the guy came down that big ass road in the car, I'm just like, I don't know what's going to happen right now. There's fucking somebody driving down this fucking dirt road at us. And I'm at the front gate of the Branch Davidian compound, the Mount Carmel Memorial Center. And I'm like, how am I even here right now? And I put my hand through the fence and I'm like, how are you, sir? You know, my name is Jimmy and his name was Pete and blah, blah, blah. And then he went to go ask Pastor Charles Pace and his wife if we can come onto the compound. He came back 10 minutes later. He said, you can come on. Thank you. I was like, what do you want me to do? You want me to jump in your car? Or you want us to follow you? He's like, no, just follow me. So now here we are following this strange dude on the fucking Waco siege site. And I had like an hour-long conversation with David Koреш's replacement pastor. Nuts. Wow.
That's crazy.
And he's batshit crazy, but he was super cool. Like he was right. But one of the first things that when I met him, he was like, are you here to do an interview or a podcast? I was like, no. He's like, but you can if you want. Like, he was like, he's dying to talk to people about shit. Bro, you'll be fine. Yeah. No, well, I gave $20. I gave $20 for a donation, and Pastor Charles Pace gave me his book.
Oh, that's like the Kill Bill Church. You know, you give that guy $10, he'll give you a book and get complete access. But in Texas, it's like, I got Texas mapped out. I got to pick and choose my battles. You know, if the compound, the guy was, you know, if the guy was, you know, a jerk and he wouldn't let people on, I probably wouldn't spend half a day going out there and just get turned down.
Just go.
Nice.
Here's a recommendation, and enough about my road trip, because I talk about it all the time. I did a whole episode with Andrew Katz, like 3 hours talking about it. But one more thing, if you're going to go to Texas, I highly, highly recommend, because you're into horror movies too, right?
Right.
I highly recommend going to Kingsland, Texas, to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, which is now a restaurant, but the owner, it's a husband and a wife, and the people who work there are super, super, super cool. Even if you go there, like right as soon as they close and you kind of get lucky, he'll give you a free run of the place to walk around with nobody in there. That's what happened with me. It was surreal. Bro, that's the spot that's the one spot that I've hit so far out of I think on my Facebook page alone, I think in my personal Facebook page, I have an album, which is just Delta Bravo, I don't know, Urban Exploration Team, whatever. And I think there's like 900 and something smashes, like mashes and shit. And at every single one of them, the moment I realized where I was standing in that house, nothing topped that feeling yet. Because I didn't walk in through the front door. I walked in because, I'll tell it real quick and then I'll get off of it, because the way it happened was crazy, dude. The house is identical, exactly how it is from the original movie, except for two things. The kitchen in the original house is now a functioning restaurant kitchen. So there's things that are different. But there's a couple of things, if you really look, are still there. And then they built a section off onto the side, which is like a bigger bar. It's like an extension to it. There's a bar, like a back patio. But it doesn't ruin the house at all. The house itself is like the same. So when we were there, I had all intentions of going in there and having a meal and chilling out. But then I was like, you know, I'm not going to be able to really walk around so much. There's going to be people in the way of my shots and this and that. But when we got there, I think it was a Sunday, and they closed at like 2:00 in the afternoon. We got there, it was like 3:00. So they were closed. So I was kind of bummed, but I had a few pictures from the outside and whatnot that I was going to get, and I was doing that. And then I hear a couple of people on the back deck. So I'm like, fuck this. I go in the back, and it's two guys. They're smoking Marlboros, and they're drinking a couple of beers. It's two guys that work there, and they're just hanging out after work. like whatever, while the people inside are cleaning up. So I go over there. I'm like, what's up, dude? Blah, blah, blah. So I introduce myself. Next thing you know, we're in the bar area. And then the owner, who's a big guy, I think his name was Brett, I want to say, and his wife came out and I started talking to them. And next thing you know, they were like, yeah, man. He's like, go ahead, let's walk around. So I was in a section of the house that wasn't the real house yet. So I walked through this door on the inside that goes into the house, but there's a hallway. So I went into this door and I walked down this little hallway, and then I made a left, and then I got this feeling of, holy fuck, where am I right now? Because I was standing my view, I'm standing and I'm looking down this hallway and I see the front door and the staircases to my left. I am standing exactly where Gunnar Hansen was standing the first time you see him in the movie, when he raises his hammer and cracks
the first shot, Leatherface. Yep.
That was where I wound up entering the Texas Chainsaw Massacre house, was right where Leatherface was standing. And I was just like, you gotta be, because I looked over at the owner and I went, dude. He's like, yeah. And he started smiling because he goes through this all the time. Obviously, he's a huge fan. He has the friggin' house. So right. I'm like, because I had to just like kind of like pinch myself a little bit. I'm like, dude, am I standing where I think I'm standing? And he's like, yeah, dude. And I was just like, fuck, man. I was like a child. It was the sickest feeling. And bro, we were in there for like 45 minutes to an hour, just walking upstairs, going into the different rooms, in the attic, everything. There's a stuffed grandpa that's sitting in a chair up in the attic. Everything. This is the chicken room where the chicken was in the bird cage. He's showing me everything. Everything. I was just like, yo, man, like this is crazy. So they are super, super, super cool. Super cool. It's called the Grand Central Cafe. Kingsland, Texas, 1010 Kings Court.
Chainsaw is on my bucket list. I tell people all the time when we're talking horror, I'm like, you can say whatever you want. And my favorite horror movie isn't necessarily the Chainsaw Massacre, but the best horror movie ever made, cannot even argue, is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh
I want to go to the cemetery because it still kind of looks the same.
I've been there. I have pieces. I have little pieces of gravel and rocks right in front of the big monument where the corpse is in the beginning. Bro, that's the Baghdad Cemetery in Leander, Texas.
Dude, you tell me that we don't learn more about geography with this hobby than we ever
love it, dude. Bro, I just drive and get lost and you find everything. Ever
in school, I know more about geography from this hobby than I ever learned in school.
Bro, I'm always searching shit, bro. Bro, you know where else you gotta go from that to down to Bastrop, Texas? You rent a cabin. It's like $80 for the night, and you can stay at one of 5 cabins behind the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre gas station.
Oh wow! So
you can get barbecue there. They have horror conventions in there, bro. I'm walking out eating a fucking brisket sandwich from the We Slaughter barbecue gas station from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I woke up and I open up. They're small cabins, but they're super cool. They're super air conditioned. There's flat screen TVs in the gas station. They give you like 10 DVDs that you can just take back to your room and just watch. Of course, you have to watch the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre while you're there. Right. So the first thing in the morning, the sun's just coming up. I open up my door, I look, and I'm at the gas station from the original Texas Chainsaw, bro. It's just surreal, awesome horror nerd shit. It's the greatest. Bro, it's like $85 for like a cabin. And there's 5 cabins, and they're super cool, man. There's conventions all the time. This convention, you know who was there? The Creeper was there when we were there. From Jeepers Creepers. He was there.
I know the guy who actually owns the first screen use truck from Jeepers Creepers is a friend of mine who lives in my city where I'm at right now. And
where are you, South Carolina or Cali?
I float between here and Cali, but I'm in South Carolina right now. I'm in Rock Hill, just south of Charlotte.
Okay.
I was hoping you'd make your way through this way, but there's not a lot over here right now.
No, but next summer, see, I have so many ideas. Initially, I was gonna go fly from New York to like San Francisco and then basically hit a lot of California, because that's a never-ending thing. So I really have to choose my battles there, and then literally drive all the way back across the country hitting spots.
Yeah, California.
I know. I have to narrow it. My daughter wants to go really bad, and I was telling her, maybe we'll go for like 3 days. She's like, no, I want to stay for longer. So, and plus it's a cool thing with just me and my kid, you know what I mean? So yeah. I'll probably wind up in Cali for like 5 days, solid 5 days. I want to make it like a 2-week road trip. So like a solid 5 days in California.
Yeah, me and Danny will hook up with you out there.
Bro, we got to go hit a spot or spots, 100%. I'm going to have my daughter with me. She'll be almost 14, but she rules. She's looking up spots in California that she wants to see. Nice. Like stuff that she enjoys. So I'm like, of course, like I might not know it, but you want to go see something from some TV show, whatever you like or whatever. Hell yeah, let's go. She's looking up basketball diary stuff and all kinds of stuff, dude. She's in. How cool is that, man? It's so awesome. It's so awesome. Dad, can we go Delta Bravo that? She always says, oh, Dad, I know where that is. Can we find where that is? Can we go Delta Bravo that one day? I'm like, sure, let's go. And here's the thing. What's cool about the crew is if there's a spot you don't know where it's at, somebody in the crew knows where it's at. You know, you don't have to, we all do our own homework, but you don't have to crush yourself looking for anything. Right. Because me and you were going back and forth on Messenger or whatever it was, Instagram or whatever. And I'm looking at I'm going to say right off the top of my head in folders already on this computer. I have a California folder and there's like 35 folders inside of that of spots that I want to hit. But some of those, like for instance, like the movie Body Double from 1984, Brian De Palma movie. I have like 35 fucking shots in that folder alone. You know what I mean? And so it's like, all right, that's that's one part of it is in Santa Monica, one part is in Long Beach, and then there's another spot where I showed you. It's the Chemisphere, the weird spaceship looking house, and then that's like in the hills somewhere. And then, but then I have like the ET house, and then I have Spawn Ranch. But then I also need to go to Alcatraz. I need to hit Alcatraz. I know that that's more San Francisco, but there's spots in San Francisco I want to hit, like Charles Manson's house from back in the day. I need to go to Haight-Ashbury, So there's so many things, but I want to go from like San Francisco and then go south. And then I'm going to wind up in LA maybe like the second or third day. One of those days I have to hook up with Randy Shanofsky though. And I have to figure it out, but there's so much. So I get so confused because I don't know. Like I was saying, like in the city here, like I just said in the city, but I'm in Brooklyn. So if I was to say to somebody, oh, let's go to the city, I just mean Manhattan. If I say, oh, let's go uptown, that just automatically means uptown Manhattan. You know what I mean? So we have our own little vernacular here that somebody might not understand. You guys over there, it's like, yeah, the hills. Yeah, that's over by the hills. All right, what hills? Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills. Where the fuck's the valley? Like, I don't know. I don't know where the valley is from where Rodeo Drive is to where Mulholland Drive is. Like, I'm so confused. Where's the Hollywood sign as opposed to where, like, how far is that from, like, Long Beach? Like, I don't know this shit. So, and I'm looking, and it's so small and compressed, and I'm going to be with my daughter. So I honestly, if it was me, I don't care. I'll drive through anywhere. But I really don't want to be like when the sun's going down in a rough part of town with me and my kid. Right. No, so I need to take all this into consideration. That's the secret to LA smashes is getting a route, knowing the geography, knowing the roads to take, avoid the 405. If you're in Santa Monica, you're right beside Venice Beach. If you want to, there's a ton of stuff in Venice that I want to hit. Yeah, like there's an app I'll have to turn you on to. You could literally load up
every address in the app, and it'll take you from address to address, like just in a row.
Is it Road Trippers?
I don't think so. I
looked at that thing, and that thing is like shitty, and it confused me.
No, the one I use.
Don't tell me. Sometimes we have to keep secrets.
All right.
Hey, tell me when we're. Yeah, tell me when we're. Yeah, sometimes we can't give up. Can't give the recipes out all the time.
No, but dude,
if you ask for help, we're more than happy.
Cult City, baby, L.A.
Uh-huh.
Did Danny send you some of those slaps?
Absolutely, he did. See, that's another thing. I'm a psychopath. I have all of them. The San Diego in there. I added them to the shadow box, and now that shadow box is done. So I actually went and I bought a piece of plexiglass because like I always have like 2 or 3 of everything, like one for the shadow box and then one to maybe whatever, and then there's always one on ice. So everything is in there, but sometimes like the edges will start coming out. You know what I mean? Because there's a piece of tape on the back. So I have everything laid out, but sometimes they'll curl a little bit, and that bothers me. Like it can't curl up because then it looks sloppy, and I'm like OCD. So I realized that I can't put anything else there. So I went and I bought a full sheet of plexiglass, and I had to buy a plexiglass cutter because I don't have a plexiglass cutter in the house. So like 2 nights ago, I'm watching something in the living room, and I'm cutting a piece of plexiglass on my coffee table, and I put it up over all of the stickers inside the shadow box, so it's kind of like sealed up, and then the cover of the door is closed, so it's locked up. Like that one's done. Danny's gonna make me get another shadow box, bro. I'm gonna have shadow boxes everywhere. Dude, I don't know where I'm gonna put all this shit anymore. Ridiculous.
You're crushing it though, man. Like if I have
no, I'm not crushing it. I'm insane.
But we're all insane, dude. This was my first contribution to the Delta Bravo. I sent the Colt City logo to Danny boy, and I'm like, hey man, you cool if I make some of these? And he was like, yeah. So I made those, and the Colt City thing. Once you've been to LA, you'll understand that completely. Yeah. And then I made the original Braves color Hank Aaron Delta Bravo Atlanta. But you've made quite a few slaps yourself though, right? Yeah,
I made a few that aren't like the font that we use is like the legit like the Delta Bravo mist like behind me. Like that's a specific font. Like that's the OG regular font, and I will not say exactly what font it is. It's very similar to a lot of things, but it's very specific. But there's a few of them that I did make with that legit font, and then there's a few that I made just to make. Like I made an old school. It was like a tribute, like to the Brooklyn Dodgers. There's a Delta Bravo Brooklyn one. What else did I make? I just recently made. I have to get them printed though. I just made the Delta Bravo Sperry for Oklahoma because on the brick from the Outsiders House Museum stoop has the Delta Bravo Tulsa sticker on the front of it, and the other one can't from the 52 pickup spot. That can't have a Tulsa sticker because that's not in Tulsa. That's in Sperry. So no one made a Sperry one. So I'm going to do a whole run of stickers just so I can keep one to put on my damn brick. And then the rest I'll give out to whoever wants. But I didn't get them made up yet, but I will. Yeah, I made. There's a bunch of mission statements ones that I made.
You made a New York one. You made a Yankee one, right? Where it's kind of like got the grid.
Yes. Yeah. That was, I think, the first one that I made. And those I also made pins.
Yeah, I got one
metal pins.
I got all that stuff around here somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you've been crushing it with the stuff, man. And I see your shadow boxes. I'm like, this guy right here, man. He's I have a couple.
I have to take an updated final picture and just let everyone know that this one is sealed and it's locked up. It's the archive now. It's done.
Well, but we got to shout out Danny Johnson for these awesome new slaps he made. These are just quality. He even got the back.
I know,
dude. How clutch is that?
And you know what, though? I only have one of those, and I almost didn't put it in the shadow box because I felt guilty of putting a piece of double-sided tape on that logo, and you can't see it. So I need like two more. One for the one on ice and one to display opposite side because it's not complete without displaying everything.
You got to do it, Jamie Johnson. I know you're watching this. We got to get Jimmy a couple more of those stickers.
I'm sure when I get to Cali, I'll get some shit. I'll have shit for you guys too. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's another cool thing about the crew, man. Is everybody's cool about sharing stuff. Like when I made those stickers, I'm sending out packages all across the place.
Yeah.
But I got to figure out who has the All City sticker because I finally hit Staten Island and I don't know who to get the All City sticker from.
Tommy Jacobs, Butchie.
Okay.
Thomas Jacobs on Facebook and on Instagram, he's at Mighty Rerun.
I'll hit him up.
Hit him up. Prove to him that you got that you all send him all 5 smashes, all 5 boroughs, and send him your address, and he'll send you an All City sticker. Earned, not given, kids. Earned.
It is 100% earned. I had to take that tunnel to get over to Staten Island, man. That was no joke. So
yeah, that's one that you need to put the work in to get. And it's crazy because as soon as that was like advertised, and it's awesome that he did the old school New York City taxi cab, yellow and black checkers. Like once he put that out, I had everything except for the Bronx already. So as soon as he put that out, like the next day, I'm on a train all the way to the Bronx just to get that stupid sticker. It's not even stupid, but all for a sticker. I feel like, what am I, 9 years old for a sticker?
Dude, I went over to the Joker steps just to get the Bronx for that.
Yeah.
For that reason, because I'm like, dude, if I'm here, I got to go. But so I get home and I'm like, oh, I didn't get Staten Island. And, you know, as you know, it's either a ferry or you got to hit that tunnel. And you got to
no, you think the Verrazano Bridge. The Verrazano Bridge connects Brooklyn to Staten Island.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, I don't know the geography in New York City. I know LA really well, but New York City, I'm still.
Well, the bridge, you probably went from Brooklyn into Manhattan.
I think we took the Holland. Is it the Holland Tunnel?
Yeah.
That take you to Staten Island? Yeah, that's what we took.
No, not just that. The only way you get into Staten Island, well, you can go the back way, but see, I'm like, if you look out my window, which is right here in my bedroom, you could see the Verrazano Bridge. So it's like I'm in Bay Ridge, so it's like a few blocks from the water, and then I could walk over the Verrazano Bridge. But yeah, but it's so expensive, like $19 without an Easy Pass. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm over there taking a bunch of pictures Andrew Katz sent me on. You know, shout out to Andy Katz, one of the Delta Bravo guys who crushes it. That guy is one of the baddest dudes, man. He crushes it. But he sent me on a trip around Staten Island. I'm over there, the Wu-Tang Street on Targi.
There's many Wu-Tang things over there. You can go I hit. There's one spot that I need to go, but I need to go with somebody. Unless knowing me, I'll just be over there one day and I'll just fucking do it myself anyway, like whatever. But I need to go literally in the middle of the Stapleton projects, like right in the middle, dead center, like the heart, and take a picture. I think it's building 13, I think I want to say. I have it in my phone, but it's building 13, and that's the house where Ghostface grew up.
Yeah.
So I have the Riz's building. I have Old Dirty Bastards apartment and the Jizza in Brooklyn. I got Raekwon, the back of the Immobilarity Raekwon record where he's standing right by the Park Hill sign. I got that. I got a bunch of stuff on Targi. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot, dude.
Yeah,
I took all over Staten Island.
I took so many. I haven't even lined them all up, and I think it was June when I was over there. But Andy gave me all the spots, but he gave me no direction on whether or not it was a good or bad neighborhood. And I put up a vlog, and somebody wrote me on my vlog and was like, "Did you go over there by yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." And they were like, "And you survived?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, consider yourself lucky. But no, that shout out to Andy, man. Staten Island, he hooked me up. I hit the Godfather house, the Corleone house.
Me too. Yeah, I've been there.
Dude, and that's been one of my favorite hits of all time. Seeing
it's on a dead end block too.
It's unbelievable. And I don't even think anybody really lives there. I think it's an Airbnb. I don't think anybody really stays there. So nobody bothered me. I was snapping photos and taking video.
Yeah. Most of the time, I really never had that problem really, except for there was one time where I probably shouldn't have been where I was with my phone out taking pictures. I was in a rough area on Coney Island, and it's like, I don't know. I got out of the car and I crossed the street. I swear to God, I think I had pajama pants on, and I did. It was like I ran out of the house like for whatever. I'm like, oh, I'm going to Coney Island anyway. I had to run out for something. I don't know. And I'm like, all right, but right on that corner it's like a salt and pepper video.
Right.
and like they're crossing the street, but it's kind of a rough part of Coney Island. It's the hood. So I'm standing there and there's a guy standing like right outside of a really shady bodega. And he's watching, he sees me get out of the car and he's watching me cross the street. He watches me take my phone out of my pocket. And then I'm starting to take pictures of like kind of not of him, but kind of in his vicinity. And he's like, yo, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then he started yelling up to people up the block and pointing at me and shit. Like, yo, this dude right here. But like, I was probably right in the middle of maybe some sort of a business operation, maybe that I shouldn't have been taking pictures of. But I didn't even acknowledge him. I took my shots and I didn't even look over. I got right back in my car and I got out of there. You know, but other than that, like no one really is like, oh, get out of here. Don't take. I haven't gotten that yet. I'm sure I will, but not yet.
Dude, in like 10 years, your mob hits, that photo of that guy sitting there, you're going to be able to pull it up and be like, oh my God, that's the dude who was doing this. You probably caught the live action stuff going on.
Dude, that's a never ending thing in my neighborhood too. I mean, I looked it up. There's like past, present, known mafia social clubs, whether they are still being used or that are done. There's like over 300 of them, and it's and then of course, because I'm a friggin' idiot, I'm like, all right, well, I hit like 30 of them, might as well try to hit all 300. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I gotta complete that collection too, you know.
Dude, I've been really digging that series though that you've been putting together with all the mob hits, man. You've been that whole series has been, nobody's really done it, and if they do it like I would do it. You get one or two and you're like, okay, cool, I got a couple of mob hits. But you've been crushing them, man. You've been crushing spot after spot after spot. And I tell you, another one you just did that gave me goosebumps was Carlin as a kid sitting on the stoop
with his dog.
And it's still all mashed up. Did you find that photo?
I did that this past Saturday. Today's Monday. I did it 2 days ago. And the reason I was at Carlin is my favorite. I mean, I have a Carlin tattoo.
There you go.
Right. So I grew up with Carlin. That I can do an entire podcast about George Carlin. I mean, hands down. There's so much about that dude. Anyway, I was there like last week, and because there's that one picture of him making like a crazy face, and he's at the end of his block and he has his arms up and he's like, and he looks crazy. He's probably about 12. And I was like, I know that picture and it's been in my phone for so long. I just want to do it so I can get it out of my phone and post it. So I went there. And I had some dude, I was taking pictures of the front of George's apartment building, which is 519 West 121st Street between Amsterdam Avenue and Broadway. So I took that picture and I'm taking pictures and I see some guy and I look over at him, he looks at me. I'm like, how you doing? He's like, yeah, how are you? And he was about to go into the apartment building. So I was like, yo, man, I felt like an asshole. I don't like asking people to take my picture, and I'm not going to take a selfie. I just won't do it. So I was like, do you mind taking my picture, man? I was like, I feel stupid, but, you know, George, he's like, oh, yeah, George Carlin lived here. I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, no problem, no problem. So he takes a couple pictures. I'm like, thanks, man. I'm like, do you by any chance know what apartment he lived in? He's like, yeah, 2C. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, you don't happen to live in there, right? He's like, no. He's like, I live up on the 6th floor. He's like, I vaguely remember George. He's telling me he vaguely remembers him, but his 87-year-old mother who lives up on the 8th floor knew George well. So I'm talking to this guy. I'm like, really, dude? I'm like, that's awesome, man. I'm like, thank you so much. And I was like, have a good day. I didn't want to hold this guy up. You know what I mean? So I'm walking away and I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, God damn it. He was such a friendly guy. I should have just asked him, yo, do you mind if you let me in? You can come with me, whatever. I just want to take a picture of apartment 2C, of the door. You know what I mean? But then I didn't think of it. So I'm on this George Carlin rabbit hole thing lately. And when they dedicated that street to him, it's George Carlin Way, which is, it's on West 121st, but it's a block down from his block, because on the end of the street where he lives is the church. And the church, Corpus Christi or whatever, put the kibosh on it. They were like, we don't want that name, because they had a complete different philosophy, George Carlin and the church. So they put it a block down. So it's 121st Morningside Drive / George Carlin Way. So I'm researching this, and it just so happened that I found out on October 21st that on October 22nd is when they dedicated the street, but in 2014. So I'm like, no shit. And I had work that day, that last Saturday, and I work in the city. So I'm like, as soon as I get out of work, I'm jumping on a train and I'm going up to Harlem. And I found pictures of like his wife and his daughter and his brother, Patrick, are all right by the dedication of the sign. So I took a bunch of those pictures. And I started watching the documentary, George Carlin's American Dream. It's two parts. It's like 2 hours each part. And I took screenshots from that. And in that documentary, close to the beginning, they show that picture of George with his dog. So I had it on this computer and I paused it and I screenshotted it. And then I sent it to myself. I put it into my phone and I went there and then I got that shot. Because I saw that picture. I knew that was the steps, because I'd been to the steps before, but I just never seen that picture until I watched the documentary. So like, that's a great shot. I got to grab that.
No, that was one of those shots, like as a Delta guy, that when, you see everybody's shots, but once in a while, somebody will post one that makes you stop and go, wow. Like,
yeah. A few of you guys have done that to me too, man.
Yeah,
several people like, yo, like that's fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things. Like everyone has their own different style. I say this a lot of how they match, if it's top or bottom or this or that, or very square, or like the way I've been doing it, it's very like cloudy around the edge. Like however you do it, it doesn't make a difference. It's the whole point of, wow, you're there. So it's just cool. But there's so many that I'm like, yo. Like one of the things that always stands out is Danny Johnson when he originally hit those angel heart spots in New Orleans.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, I was like jealous, dude. I'm like, fuck, like I need to get there bad.
Dude, let me tell you, that guy is a beast. I mean, he is a beast.
But you know what? He's super humble about it. He's like, no,
yeah.
And he says it to me. He's like, bro, you're like one. I'm like, no, I'm not. I just enjoy this shit. So I do it a lot. So it makes it look like, I don't know. I don't do it to prove a point. There's no competition. I'm just so wrapped up in doing this shit. It just happens that I put out a lot of shit. I don't know. That's all I think about. I'm like, we think it's like a sickness.
Dude, hands down, you're a beast. Andrew Katz is a beast. Danny Johnson is a beast. There's so many guys in this crew that are just unreal at this hobby, man. But going back to Carlin, it's a big club, Jimmy.
And you ain't in it. Damn right. That dude, fuck. I'll just real quick. I remember I was like 6 or 7. And I was watching it on a Betamax. My next door neighbors in Canarsie had a Betamax machine. And I remember sitting on the floor in their living room watching on a big one, like when the TV was like a friggin' piece of furniture. There's an old big wooden huge TV with like, I don't know, a 21-inch screen, but it's a giant piece of furniture. And I'm sitting on the floor and I'm watching Colin at Carnegie. And as a little kid, there's certain things didn't resonate with me because he gets a little bit political when he sits down at the desk and he's doing all this. So I didn't really get that stuff because I was just too young. But there were certain things that he was doing, his facial expressions and just like him that could relate to a kid. Like he's talking about food that just doesn't look right. And it's just observational, funny shit. He's like a tomato. He's like, on the outside, a tomato looks beautiful, shiny, beautiful, but then on the inside of a tomato, something is wrong. He's like, it doesn't look like it's finished yet, for one thing. It looks like it's in the larval stage. It's a bunch of jelly and a bunch of seeds, and he makes his face, and he's like, oh, get it off my plate. Like, as a little kid, I'm fucking cracking up at this weird dude making silly faces talking about tomatoes. You know what I mean? So from that point on, he was talking about the differences between dogs and cats, and then all kinds of shit like how to get dog shit out of your neighbor's yard. It's like you feed the dog a bunch of rubber bands. So when he shits, there's usually a little loop on the end of the shit. So you pick it up and you take it and you toss it into the neighbor's yard. It's like, as a kid, I'm cracking up. So from that point on, like I always, the new George Carlin special, the new George Carlin. And then in 1992, when he came out, 90 or 92, he came out with Jammin' in New York. And that's when he changed a lot of his shit.
Right.
He changed, and he even said in like an interview, he was like, I felt comfortable enough in my career where I didn't feel like I had to make everybody laugh all the time. So I did a bunch of chunks of material where people are just listening to me. And then I hit them with a crazy punchline. I make it funny throughout, but it's not just jokes. It's not set up punchline. And that's when he starts talking about, you know, the war in the Persian Gulf and then this and that. And then this, but that one right there is my favorite overall. But that dude is, for over 50 years, he did one of the hardest things that you could possibly do on a gigantic global scale. And that is coming up with material to make somebody do something that is involuntary, which is laugh.
No, and he was prolific, man. He put out a special a year for years, man. I remember when I was a kid, my parents couldn't afford HBO, but the cable box.
Me neither. I couldn't either.
You could hear the audio. Like it would be blurry. There'd be lines through the TV, but you could hear the audio. So I'd stay up and watch the new Carlin special, the new Kinnison special, the new Dice special. And speaking of Dice, one of my favorite hits I ever got off Delta was The Day the Laughter Died. I'm not sure if you know where that's at, but I got that a couple of trips ago to New York, and I got that right off Delta. And
that's
it's been
Dangerfields. Well, that's one of my favorite, that's one of my all-time favorite comedy albums is The Day the Laughter Died. It's amazing because there was nothing, I've listened to that thing a billion times. I know that shit word for word, dude. And what's amazing about that is that he didn't have an act. He had nothing. He went there with a drink in his hand and just talked. And there's even a couple of times where he even says, "You're going to laugh a lot more than you think so, pal." He's like, yeah. He's like, "You're going to laugh a lot." And he even says, he goes, "Because I don't know the next fucking thing out of my mouth." And it's just, it's so honest and funny. It's just like, yo, this guy is a maniac, you know? And yeah, so he's outside on the cover. He's outside of like a schoolyard gate, isn't he?
It's like there's a subway entrance, there's a schoolyard gate, and then there's some buildings in the background across the street. And I dug through the deepest of deep on Delta, and I found that, I don't know, maybe a year ago. I was like, oh my God, I love that record. I'm a big time fan of that record.
Me too. I need to hit that spot, dude.
Oh, dude, it's way in the archives of the Delta shots, but dude, you can find it. It's I'm like you, that record is legendary. And when I lived in LA, I lived right up the street from the Comedy Store. And I would go over there. This was before the big boom of podcasts and Joe Rogan and all that stuff. And they'd be half empty and they let locals in for free. And once in a blue moon, Dice would stop in and just go up there and do that exact same thing. He'd have nothing planned out and he'd just do crowd work. and crush
Amazing.
everybody.
Yeah.
The whole room. And it just, dude, legendary. And he's still crushing, you know.
Still does.
Yeah. So, you know, the Carlin specials, like that whole era of Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Kinnison, Dice.
And people want to know why I am the way I am. I grew up on Carlin, Eddie Murphy, Dice. Like, what do you expect? Kinnison, what do you expect?
My favorite, Kinnison, I remember being a kid and he did the Dangerfield specials, and he was just like, he was talking about, like sending money over to the kids without food. He was just like, give them a sandwich, Cameron.
You dude, hell yeah. But you can't, and if somebody did that now, forget it. It would be a shitstorm. He's like, move to where there's food. He's like, you see, and he crouches down. He's like, you see this? This is sand. In 100 years, you know what this is gonna be? Fucking sand. It's like, move.
Oh, dude, and I love it.
Controversial now. Whatever.
Oh, dude, Kinnison was the best, and I've met his brother Bill a few times, and he's a really sweetheart, nice guy. And that's another thing. When you get out to LA, I got to take you to the Comedy Store, and I'll get you the grand tour of the Comedy Store, because that's still preserved in its almost exact condition as the days of. You can line up shots of Pryor.
There's a few shots that I have already. There's like old school Robin Williams shot where he's dressed up like a mime that's outside of there. And so I have a Comedy Store folder in the California folder already. I'm on it.
Yeah, I could take you by there and get you the hookup. The Robin Williams shot is just right in front of the front door. Mm-hmm. There's a great Kinnison shot. There's a great Bill Hicks shot where he's standing up. I don't know if you're a Bill Hicks fan or not, but he was standing up against the wall.
So honestly, somewhat, but I never really dove too deep into Hicks.
You know what?
For whatever reason, and I'm not sure why I haven't. Maybe I will. So I'll revisit and stuff, but for some reason, I never really dug deep. I know some of his material, but not that much of it.
You know, when the material came out originally, it didn't hit like it hits today. Like George Carlin, to me, that bit about it's a big club, that hits so hard today. Today,
it's such a true statement. It's just true.
But when he said it back then, people were just like thought it was a goof. But now it really hits. It's like he's a prophet. And Bill Hicks, there's a lot of Bill Hicks is similar. But you know, Bill came from the same scene as Kinnison did. And, you know, he kind of got a little bit there's a lot of Kinnison influence with him. And I think for me, that's what I like. But you know, when Kinnison came out, that era of his first record and that special at Dangerfields, for about 3 or 4 years, nobody could touch that guy.
I know. Dude, what was awesome is that when we were in Tulsa, we're driving somewhere, and Danny Boy was like, yo, you see that? That's the church where Kinnison would preach before he became a comedian. What? It's abandoned.
Oh, dude.
So I was like, hold on. So I got out and I took pictures of it, and then we visited Kinnison's grave the next morning.
Oh, dude.
He's buried in Tulsa.
Dude, how slack am I? Listen to this. How slack am I? I'm a total mark goofball for the Delta crew, and I'm yet to go to Tulsa. I got to make that trip, dude.
Listen, it took me longer than it should have.
I got to make it.
But once you go, and next year, road trip, there is going to be a stop in Tulsa. 100%. I got to go back there. Maybe stay 2 nights in the Greaser hideout, not just one, you know, because, you know, there was so much to do, and it was like, one night. It was like we stayed one night in different spots in the different cities or a different state every night. So I think this next one, it's going to be a bunch of California, maybe hit a couple of spots here and there, and then take our time a little bit, stop in Tulsa, maybe stay a couple of days in Tulsa, and then maybe fly out, or, you know, from Tulsa back home. Or I really have to start making a decision as far as the route and all of that, because there's so much I want to do, but I can't realistically do everything in one road trip. I mean, I want to go up to Milwaukee and go visit where friggin' Dahmer was, but that's just not in my that's just not in the trajectory of any direction that I'm going to be going. You know what I mean? And it's not like Wisconsin is up the block. You know what I mean? So that's a trip in and of itself.
Dude, have you watched the new Dahmer special on Netflix?
Twice in its entirety.
My buddy just smashed all the locations in LA. They filmed that whole thing in LA.
Oh no, I want to go to the real spots. I want to go to the Ambassador Hotel. I want to go. Danny Johnson did it years ago.
Oh, really?
Danny Johnson took a picture in front of the grandmother's house, the real house. He has a Delta Bravo Fear City hat on the fence where the empty lot is of where where his apartment complex was. Yeah. Danny Johnson hit that like 4 years ago.
Oh, nice, man.
Kid's ahead of his time.
No, dude. Again, he's a beast, man. He's a psycho like we are.
Yeah.
Dude, when I hit him up, I don't know, it was last December. He was in Nashville. And I'm like, dude, I want to hit some of these spots. And he goes, fly in for the day. And I'm like, he's part of the crew. I know he's legit. I'm like, all right, will you scoop me up? Dude, he scooped me up and we're hitting spot after spot after spot. That dude is just a machine. Yeah. But I didn't know he hit up the original Dahmer spots. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody hit up those spots. I'll have to go back and look at his photos. Absolutely.
Well, if you look at the Delta Bravo Instagram page, I took them. Because I saw them a while back, and then when the whole Netflix thing happened, I went back and I searched on Danny's page and I found them and I posted them. They're not that far down on the Delta Bravo Instagram. I reposted them for him.
I'm gonna have to check that out. You know what? When I watched that series, I'm 45. I was born in 77.
47.
But so Dahmer was the first kind of crazy serial killer that I remember real time. Like when I was like 14, it was on the news. Like John Wayne Gacy was before me, Ted Bundy was before, but Dahmer was, it was like the first one, and he was the most crazy one. I'm like going to school and kids are like, oh yeah, they found a head in the guy's freezer and he's eating the body parts. Like, what is this guy?
I remember vividly. I don't remember a lot. I remember it being on the news, but I remember vividly the image of the guys going down those steps with the big blue barrel.
Yeah.
In the hazmat suits. I remember seeing that on the news.
Dude.
I was like,
And Netflix did such a good job of recreating that. It was almost spooky.
Yeah. That's one thing I need to find out somehow. I really got to dig. I want to know exactly what side of the building, because it's not the front on that front street, where those steps were. I think they were on the back end of the building where those steps were. Off the main street, you would, because that apartment complex was on a corner. So you had the long street that goes the long way of the apartment complex, and you have the street that goes the short way in the front. So on the long way, I think it was on the back portion down the long street. I think they were there, but I gotta find different angles and views of that building to find exactly where, because I want to do my best to get the exact spot of where those steps would be, and then somehow or another mash that onto. There's nothing there, but at least get the exact spot of where they would have been, give or take a couple of feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that series is just nuts, man. Like that
dude's an incredible actor, bro.
Oh my God, dude, he was creepier than Dahmer. Like I'm watching it going like, dude, Dahmer was not as creepy as you are in this role. Like he was crushing him. Yeah,
my daughter watched it. She wanted to watch it because she likes that guy because he was in American Horror Story.
Right. Well, that's another one. When you get out to LA, I'll be able to show you
Murder House. That's a spot that my daughter wants to see 100%. She's like, Dad, it's the murder. I want to see the Murder House. Okay.
Yeah, I've hit that spot a lot. It's right near downtown LA, Koreatown. It's easy to find.
I don't know where Koreatown is, man. It's like you say this. I don't know where that is. Like, what's Koreatown? Like, where is that next to? I don't know.
Downtown LA. I mean, it will. Whenever you get ready, we're gonna collectively make an unbelievable trip for you to just hit spot after spot after spot. Because
in the LA area, from in that area from like Santa Monica down to like some sort of parts of LA into Long Beach, that there's so much stuff in that concentrated area that I need to hit. The 4 on the floor murders. I need to go to Waverly Drive. I need to do some of the layup easy shots just because I need to go to the La Bianca house. You know what I mean? So
dude, it's so crazy. Whenever you get there, you're gonna be like, okay, you'll be at the Freddy house. Cross the street, you're at the ending of Halloween 1. Go up the street, take a right on Laurel Canyon, take a left on Wonderland Avenue. You're at the 4 on the floor murder house. Come back down to Sunset, go down. You can get on Cielo Drive and go up to the the Sharon Tate murder scene. I mean, it's just, there's so much in that area. Like LA will be one of those places that after you hit it, you're gonna go, God, I miss this and this and this.
I already know that's going to happen. I want to go to where Gazzari's used to be. Like,
yeah, that's on the way. It's right. You got the Viper Room, the Whiskey, the Roxy, the Rainbow, and where Gazzari's. And that building is where what was the Night at the Roxbury? That's where that's the club they were trying to get into. But I don't know if you know this, but that's not the actual building that Gazzari's was in. They bulldozed that.
Right, I know that.
And they made a club called Billboard Live, and now it's a club called One Oak. It's like a hip hop club, but you'll be able to see it. But what another cool thing about that is, I think it was Al Capone and Suge Knight both got shot outside of that place in the street, right in front of the front door.
Really?
So, yeah. So look that up. There, I think there's been three different hits right outside that front door. I'm pretty sure it was Capone. It might have been Bugsy. I think it was Capone, and Suge Knight for sure got shot right outside the front door. And it's just like
where Gazzari's used to be.
Yeah, and they got shot in the same exact spot in the right past the sidewalk. And if you go into the Viper Room, if it's still up, downstairs is a bar, and it used to be the torture room for the Capone family. I think it's. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I'm just ripping
some kind of nefarious mob shit.
Yeah, it was a mobster, like a rough 'em up room in the basement. Now it's a bar at the Viper Room. It's crazy.
Nice.
But yeah,
I can't wait. It's like when we were coming back from this last road trip, it's like once we were starting to come east and like we hit Baltimore, and it's just like, oh, here we go with the shit show again. And here's the traffic, and here's the assholes, and here's the tolls, and here's the, oh God, here's the shittiness. After coming back from such a, like Texas and Oklahoma and all these places were just so nice and quiet and clean and no traffic and no tolls and no traffic was the amazing thing. You know what I mean? We're going 75, 80 and there's people flying past us on like rush hour on like a Tuesday. It's like, where is everybody? You know what I mean? So it was an awesome feeling. So it's like every year when my vacation gets re-upped, it's like, put money away, and every year just a different road trip somewhere else. But but most of the time there has to be a stop in Tulsa.
Yeah, I mean, when you hit LA, because you're in LA, you'll be like kind of an LA virgin. There will not be a spot. There won't be a part of town where you can't pick up the phone and be like, "Hey, I'm here. What's around here?"
Oh yeah, I already know. I know like the whereabouts of where the star on the Walk of Fame, where George Carlin's star is. Like I need to do that.
Right.
I found the hotel and the exact spot where Razzle and Vince Neil crashed. Like I need that. I was asking you, from the Motley Crue Uncensored video, when the girl answers and she's all wasted and they knock on the door. He's like, "Is Vince home?" She's like, Vince. She's all confused. Like I want that house.
Dude.
Like. Certain weird, stupid shit that like I grew up watching. Like I want to hit those spots, those nostalgic things for no reason, only because I have like, I love that shit from when I was younger.
Oh, dude, did you see my smash where Vince is in the limo?
In the limo with the jacuzzi in the back? Yes.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, nobody's ever smashed this. I got to do it.
See, I have to follow in your footsteps, and I want to do my own version of that.
Oh. You got to do it, and I can show you where that Vince house is. It's in a gated community, but Delta Bravo does it better, so we can get in there.
Yeah, I'll somehow or another get my way in there. I don't care. I'll talk to anybody in order to try to get a shot in somewhere. It's whatever.
The scene where Tommy's riding the motorcycle, I can show you where that's at. I can take you to. We'll go down to Cantor's Deli, where Guns N' Roses took their first photos. We'll go to El Coyote, where Sharon Tate had her last meal. It's all that's in the same little area. It's crazy. You know, it's you know, in the grand scheme of things, you know, things are kind of like 2, 3, 4 miles apart, but it's not far.
Right.
You know, you come out of El Compadre, which is a Mexican restaurant that Guns N' Roses took a photo in that everybody thinks is at the Rainbow, but somebody on Delta hit it a long time ago. But you'll hang it right there, and boom, you're at Guitar Center where Eddie Van Halen took photos. And then you remember that picture of Axl on the cell phone, and he had the Cat House shirt on.
Yes.
That's across the street from there. Then you're at Rock and Rouse and Evil Knievel.
I want to go to where the Cat House used to be too.
Yeah, I can take
little ass Ricky Rackman.
Dude, he lives here now, right? He lives
I know. I think he lives in North or South Carolina. I had him on the Blast Furnace podcast because you're wearing that shirt. I had him on there.
Yeah.
Here's something. Maybe I'll put it out. I can't because I don't have any of the platforms anymore for Blast Furnace. I kind of deaded all that stuff. And my Instagram was hacked and I still can't get into it, but whatever. I have an entire episode of me and Ricky Rackman, which is 10 times better than the one that I put out. But he didn't realize it yet, but he was just about to feel the effects of COVID. And he's sitting on like a beanbag and he has like Ugg boots on and he's eating like a turkey sandwich and it's falling all over him. And then once like he hit me up like a couple of days later and he was like, dude, he's like, you're the guy I did the podcast with, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, I like don't remember anything. He's like, because like later on that night, he started getting freezing cold and he had the Rona bad. So he was like, please don't put that out. I'm like, really? He's like, no, I was like, come on, man, you got to let me put it out. It's awesome. It's hilarious. He's like, what'd you say? He was like, I was eating a sandwich. I was like, yeah, dude, it's falling all over you. And he's like, no, he's like, you will not put that out. We will do another one. But the second one was okay. But the first one's hilarious, dude. I still have that one now.
Dude, if you make a secret link and just send it out to the crew so we can watch it. I'll take you to the Cat House. All the 80s glam rock stuff, dude. The Rainbow, or got at the end of the You Could Be Mine video where they walk out of the Roxy, which is right beside. There's a Tim Curry shot from Rocky Horror Picture Show, which debuted at the Roxy. So did Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse, started at the Roxy.
Yeah.
There's pictures.
I want to get shots from, I don't know like what the hours are for the whiskey. So I would like to get shots of like old Motley Crue shots, like clear good ones, like when they're on the stage. And like inside, like live shots from inside the whiskey and shit like that too, you know. Dude, if I'm gonna be there, it's like I'm going all in because it's not like I'm going to California like a month later, you know.
No, I got you hooked up. One of my good buddies, Jake, runs that place, so I'll be able to get you in there. And you can take pictures. I got people everywhere, bro. Randy Shanowski has ins to the Warner Brothers backlot. I got you and Danny and everybody else. I got to hit up Naco. One of the Delta Bravo guys, Greg. He lives in the Cecil Hotel now. What?
Yeah, Greg Samsa. He lives in the Cecil.
That's nuts.
He's like, yo, man. He's like, let me know when you're here. We'll walk around the Cecil. I'm like, I want to see Richard Ramirez's room. He's like, yeah, it's like down the hall. I'm like, what?
Dude, that's nuts.
The back alleyway where he would take off his bloody clothes and shit and then go up the back alleyway staircase, like that's still there. I want to go there.
Yeah, I got photos there. And it's literally right beside where the Streets Have No Name building is, where U2 shot their video on the roof. It's literally next door to the Cecil. In fact, when in the video, you can see the signs of the Cecil beside Bono and stuff. I'm not the biggest U2 fan.
Me neither. I'm not gonna lie. There's a few songs I don't hate, but I'm not a fan. I can't say I'm a U2 fan.
But you know, while you're there, you might as well hit it. You know, it's kind of one of those things. You know, but the big mural that used to, like, if you see the episode that Naco was in of the Cecil Hotel thing, where you could see the Cecil Hotel weekly rates.
Yes,
they painted over all that. But I got a photo before they painted over it. But Danny Johnson just hit the actual water tower.
I know. He was on the roof of the Cecil, the actual water tower where she died.
and he slapped it.
And he put a Delta Bravo sticker on that water tower. I know.
Dude,
it's all fucking awesome.
Dude, that's clutch, man. But dude, when you get to LA, it's gonna be one of those things. When you leave, it's gonna haunt you to go back.
I already know that. That's why it's like I gotta really think about spots I really want to hit. And there's a few that I can't leave without hitting. There's a few. For whatever reason, some of them are strange, but there's some of them that I need to hit. Like I need to hit the Poltergeist house. I know it's easy, and I know the address, and it looks basically the same as the movie, but I need to hit the Poltergeist house. I need to hit the E.T. house. I need to hit Spawn Ranch. I need to hit several spots from the movie Body Double.
Well, you know what's crazy is the Poltergeist house is right up Chatsworth. Go down the road, you're at the E.T. house.
It looks like the same neighborhood.
It's not the same neighborhood, but it's in the same area.
Okay.
Then also right up the street, you may have missed it, but you won't now, is the Bad News Bears baseball field that's still there.
I missed it. I'll be missing things all over the place.
But you're not.
I miss things in my own neighborhood.
we're gonna make sure you don't miss any of it. But the Bad News Bears is right there. And then you got Spawn Ranch is not far from there in Chatsworth as well. I know you talked about you wanted to hit the Wave Cave and all that kind of stuff.
I need to go to the Manson Cave. I have to.
Dude, I went there by myself, and it was a Sunday morning. And I thought, man, I'm going to run into it's going to be wild down here. There's going to be some crazy stuff. Dude, it was
nobody.
There was nobody down there, but dude, it was surreal because I've seen that photo spread of the Manson family, so many times, and the cave is preserved. I mean, I don't know if somebody takes care of it. I don't know if somebody goes out there and looks out for it, but there's a ton of history out there. And the cool thing is if you're standing looking at the cave and you just turn around and you walk maybe not even 100 yards, what I was saying earlier, there's enough debris and wood from the original Spawn Ranch. You'll be buying a backpack just to bring home part of the set.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. And like, there's spots from Boogie Nights that I need to hit. With the whole part with Alfred Molina, with where he's with was it Cosmo, where he's throwing the firecrackers, like that house. And like, I have so many addresses and stuff like that. I just need to sit down and map out makes sense. Well, I mean, that's the key to doing as much as you can in a limited time is the planning behind. Like, dude, like this last road trip, I was planning for literally months. And then several days before like we left, I found a new spot. Like that Gilbert Grape one wasn't even on the radar. And then just by the proximity of where that was to where we were staying the night we flew in, it was just the closest. So it was like the first spot was supposed to be the Mean-Eyed Cat, where Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 was, where Dennis Hopper goes to buy the chainsaws. That's a bar now. And that was like the original first spot, but that wound up being like the fifth spot because I started finding other things. And that's when Gilbert Grape was the first one. And then I was like, oh shit, like I'm right by the slaughterhouse from the 2013 one with Jessica Biel and Arlie Ermy. I'm like right there. And then there's this one. And then, no, wait, that's a fucking lie. That's a lie. The first spot that we hit was the gas station from, it served the same spot in both movies, in the 2013 Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then the prequel Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the beginning, the same gas station. That's the first spot. And then it was Gilbert Grape. That's right.
I got to hit Texas, man. Texas and Tulsa are on my list.
Texas is fucking awesome, dude. Texas is awesome and Oklahoma is awesome. Go to Oklahoma City. It's one of the most beautiful and cleanest cities ever.
I used to do a thing where like if I had enough miles on because I live pretty close to the airport. If I had enough miles on my credit card, I would literally just do a day trip. I'd fly because we're on the East Coast. And if you fly west, you gain hours.
Yeah.
So I flew to Dallas one day at like the 6:30 a.m. flight. And I got there at like 7 a.m. and just crushed Dallas the whole day and left that night. You know, that I've done that a bunch of times, but I really want to hit Austin. I really want to hit
in Austin. There's stuff I left behind in Austin, dude. I want to hit the Carolina. I want to hit Georgia because there's The Walking Dead there. I don't know if you watch The Walking Dead or Fear the Walking Dead. Fear the Walking Dead, there's a bunch. I hit a whole shitload from Fear the Walking Dead in Austin. There's Pioneer Town where like a full episode was filmed there. It looks like this old Western town. And it's like it's like you're in the middle on the show. It looks like it's so much bigger, but it's really like maybe 15 buildings in this really small little area. That's exactly, I mean, literally exactly like the show. They didn't do anything to the set. And you're walking around. It's like, oh, okay, I have like 15 smashes from there. It's like, oh, this is where he is right here. And I literally turn around. This is a completely different building. And it says Opera House on it and brothel and this and that, just like the show. It's like this ghost town cowboy abandoned thing. I don't know. There's like a little gift shop and stuff, but it's like, it doesn't charge anything. It's like this little weird cowboy ghost town thing in the middle of Texas. It's in Wimberley, Texas. No, that's in Round Rock, Texas. No. Yeah. Wimberley. Yeah, Wimberley.
As far as bang for your buck, LA, New York, hands down. You can just interchange those. But third on the list, and it'll creep up on you, is Atlanta.
I'm sure.
Atlanta, there's so much stuff in Atlanta. Stranger Things, Walking Dead, Ozark, Friday.
Chicago too.
Yeah, Chicago. But I give Atlanta third, maybe Chicago's fourth or fifth. But Friday the 13th, Part 6, Covington, Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, which I wasn't a fan of, is in Covington. Dukes of Hazzard, it's Atlanta's crazy.
That's another spot that is absolute bucket list that I need to hit, and it's in Cali. I need to hit the Final Chapter house. Friday the 13th, the Final Chapter.
Well, you know, you remember the scene where it was like the campground, and they the guy got pushed up against a tree, and Jason like put I don't know, it was around his face.
That's part 5.
Was that part 5?
Yeah.
That's actually right on the same trail where they shot the opening to Andy Griffith's show. Did you know that?
No, that's awesome though.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's crazy. But I had the address, and that movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Eraser, was also filmed at the Jarvis house from Friday the 13th Final Chapter. I need that house. That's my favorite Friday the 13th, and I need to get to that house.
Yeah. Is the Final Chapter Part 6 with Alex? Okay.
Part 4, 6, Corey Feldman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's all LA. Yeah, the Part 6 is all Atlanta.
Yeah, Part 6 is in Georgia. Yeah, that's Jason Lives.
Yeah, and there's so much stuff. So if you ever want to come down this way, I'll show you around Atlanta. I'm 2.5 hours from there. It's crazy, and you know, we have in the Carolinas. Wilmington has a ton of stuff. A lot of the new Halloween stuff was shot in Wilmington. The original Trick or Treat with Sammy Kerr from the 80s. You remember that movie?
Yeah.
That was all down there. The Strangers, that was a pretty great movie back in like 2009, 2010. That Kevin Smith movie Tusk. Do you remember that? That was shot
very strange movie. Yes.
It was crazy, but it was shot here. You know, we don't have much, but Atlanta is like New York and LA. You literally can't, all the Marvel stuff used Atlanta as their background. Anchorman 2 was shot down there. Yeah. Dude, I could go on for days on Atlanta.
I'm sure we can talk about spots all over the country all day long that I want to hit. Like that's another thing. Like on this next road trip, like I know it's kind of out of the way, but that's why I want to start from San Francisco, which is northern Cali, up north compared to LA, work my way down, go through Arizona, hit New Mexico, because I want to hit Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul spots.
Yeah.
I want to go through Arizona and hit Tombstone spots. And then even if I go down that way and then hit up to Tulsa and then go visit Danny and stay there, and then go back down on the opposite side of Texas and end up in Louisiana and hit Angel Heart spots, and then fly out of Louisiana back home or something like that. You know, so I gotta pick and choose, man. You know, there's so much that I want to do, but I literally have to just make a decision and stick with it.
It's all about the adventure, man. It's all about, that's what it's about. You know, it's about getting out and seeing the country and getting outside. And that's what, you know, people ask me about, you know, the hobby, and they're like, what is Delta? What is Delta Bravo? What is all this about? It's like going on adventures, going to see places, and going to places you'd never go before, you know, just to see something. You know, when I speaking of Atlanta, you know, the Walking Dead poster where it showed all the cars leaving and Rick is on the horse. Yeah. I was just there a month ago, and I walk up and I'm getting ready to take my photo, and I look down and there was a Delta slap on it. You know, it's just like, you know, we're everywhere, man. Delta does it better.
That's awesome. Yeah, like I would love to hit that spot, like just to stand there, like, wow, like this is fucking cool. And it's always an excuse to get out of the house. Always. Oh yeah. You know, yesterday I was hesitant, but then I wound up getting that Saturday Night Fever spot, like I was talking about. But I was like, it was kind of shitty out. I know that like my boss is out. I know that these next couple of weeks are going to be hectic like crazy with work. So it's like, maybe it's a shitty Sunday. Maybe I'm just going to just have a lazy Sunday for once and just not go out. But other than that, man, it's just like, what sucks about the winter is that I get out of work and it's dark, which sucks. You know, I get up and it's dark. I get out of work and it's dark. So hitting spots after work is limited unless, listen, there's always a loophole. If it's a shot that I want to get and that shot happens to be done at night, then okay, then I'll do it and I'll mash it. You know, like when we were in Tulsa, we were on the opposite side of Crutchfield Park when Dally is getting shot at the end of The Outsiders. We were there at night, and I was taking pictures at night, and that was a night shot. So it made sense. Even like Randy Shanofsky commented, he's like, I'm so glad that you actually did this one at night because it works. It makes sense. So you know, even if it's nighttime, go hit a night spot. Yeah, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, listen, stay in the house for what? You know what I mean? Go out, get some fresh air, walk around. I'll walk anywhere, dude. Like, if I have a destination, I don't care. I'll walk all day long. That's why it's like I was asking you, I was like, can I park the rental car that I get when I'm in California? I'll park it somewhere, whatever, I have to pay a parking lot, whatever. I don't know how shit works over there. I don't know if there's meters, but I'll park somewhere and then just use my phone as a GPS to just walk around and hit spots that way too. You know what I mean? Just to walk around a decent part of LA and just walk around and hit spots. Walk down, take our time and walk down the Sunset Strip and go up to wherever, to the Wonderland Avenue or whatever. You know what I mean? Just a day trip, just walking around in a certain spot of LA and just hit like 30 spots, which I'm sure can be done.
Oh, dude, you could park on one end of Sunset near Hollywood High School, and across the street's the AC/DC Dirty Deeds Hotel. Right beside it is another spot. You know, the Hollywood High School had so many spots. You remember the Bad Metal Band photos where they had the guys dressed like with the Grim Reaper costumes on? Like, you can line that up.
I know all about silly glam rock and metal and that whole Sunset Strip scene. I know all about that shit. I have a sister who's 6 years older than me that was all into that, and it was on all the time, so I couldn't help it. Plus, MTV at the time was inundated with everything from Faster Pussycat to Dokken to Trickster and all these bands. So I know all of that stuff, dude. I had all those cassette tapes. I used to get my allowance and go to the store and buy cassette tapes, and then I found like thrash metal and stuff like that. Then I started getting to the heavier stuff. But I know all of that shit, dude. And you know, I'll say it right now. I'm not mad at Bon Jovi, bro. Like, people like want to shit, bro. Listen, you put on Bad Medicine, I'm bobbing my head a little bit. I'm singing. I'm singing.
Me too. Dude.
I don't care what anyone says.
This is how psycho I am about the 80s and the 80s metal. I'm like, I got to find something nobody's found. And I go digging through Ozzy Osbourne, and I found Shot at the Dark, where he picks the girl up in the house. I'm like, oh, it's right behind the CNN building. So I'm like, I think you posted that match.
Probably. Didn't you do something with the Ultimate Sin?
Yeah, that was the Ultimate Sin. Maybe it was the Ultimate Sin.
It was the Ultimate Sin. Yeah.
I couldn't, but I've watched all those videos to find something I could line up, and I'm like Ozzy, and then I'm like, I got to do something from Uncensored, and then I got to go get some Guns N' Roses, and then I got to, all that stuff, and then in the middle of all that, you can hit up the Irish House of Coffee and get the House of Pain photo, and then there, I think the old apartment that Danny Boy used to live in, right there, like so much history. The cover of the DOC is right there. His original
It's
stuff.
like the Motley Crue video, "Don't Go Away, Man, Just Go Away." Like, I want to know where that is. I want to know where that studio is when Vince gets out of his car and walks into. I want to know where that is. Like,
it's all.
I want that shot for some stupid reason.
Dude, I can tell you exactly where it's at. It's on Hollywood Boulevard. If you see them walking, and they got the Nikki and Tommy had the haircut where they had the side
shaved. Yeah.
I had that cut too for a minute, but not as cool as them. But you can, if you look at their feet, you can see the stars from the Walk of Fame. So yeah, it's right there. It's all right there. Like Hollywood High School, go to Hollywood, and I think it might be Hollywood and Vine area is where that shot is, but it's easy to find. But I'm like you, like all the 80s stuff.
I love that shit, dude. And I'm so all over the place with what I hit and stuff like that. Like I'll go on, mobsters being shot on the sidewalk to, a Billy Idol screenshot from somewhere in California that I want to hit, or something like just completely makes no sense compared to because I hit so much different shit. You know what I mean? Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Gilbert Grape. I have the Gazaris. I have there's so much stuff I want to hit because I like so many stuff. A lot of this stuff stems from when I was a kid too. You know what I mean? Especially all that Sunset Strip stuff and all that. Like I remember watching like Decline of Western Civilization Part 2, The Metal Years. Like, oh my. Dude, like I've seen that a billion times.
I got the whole box set right here.
That's awesome. And like I want shots from that,
Dude, I can take you through the whole movie. I've covered that. Penelope Spheeris, I went to see a screening of it. It was like, I don't know, the 20th anniversary. They did a screening at the Cinerama Dome. And dude, I obsessed. That movie was my Ed Sullivan moment for the Beatles. Like I love
it's like the dude with the skunk hair and everything, bro. It's that movie. That documentary is such a shit show. It's almost like a parody, bro. It's crazy.
Dude,
the dude who puts eyeliner on in the car and shit, and everyone's gonna make it. Everyone's gonna be a rock star. But there's like 2 bands that made it. Vixen for a little while and Poison made it. Other than that, and there's Megadeth who are already established. There's a few that obviously were already established, but come on, whatever happened to Odin? Stop it. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, I'll take you to Odin Street where they got their name from. Right? Dude,
you see, I'll do that just to do that. I'll do that. I have no problem doing that.
I'll take you to the hill Lemmy was standing on where they're like, what do you think of guys in makeup? He was like,
see, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I would love to do that. I would love to smash that spot of Lemmy on that hill.
Dude, I know exactly where it's at. And Lemmy used to live across the street from the Rainbow. I could take you to his old place. So much history, but the Decline of Western Civilization, dude, my trajectory in life was this, and that movie came out, and it just took a whatever, for good or for bad.
Yeah,
my life took a left turn, but that between that and Motley Crue Uncensored, I probably watched those
a million times. What is it when Nikki Sixx is getting tattooed, like in that tattoo shop, and he's like, oh yeah, my whole costume was the phone cord from the Live Wire video. Like, oh yeah, your whole costume was the phone cord because he had a phone cord on his costume in the Live Wire video. Crazy.
That was across the street from the Comedy Store where the original Sunset Strip tattoo was.
And that's where now?
A hotel.
Damn.
But I could show you where the spot was, where that was at, where they parked their motorcycles and they went there like, I'm getting a tat. You know, what it was. So let's do the interview right here. Sunset Strip Tattoo Parlor. Yeah, dude.
Awesome.
And the studio where they go in and they're like busting mixed balls about being an alcoholic and stuff. That's on Fairfax. It's those old Cherokee studios. I could take you there. It doesn't look like it did then, but I could take you to where all stuff is.
Well, when did that video come out? That video was what, like 1988 or something?
86, I think, 87, something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely mid-late 80s.
But dude, I watched that thing.
Because the Theater of Pain record was brand new when that came out. Because they asked, oh, what's your favorite record? Well, right now, Theater of Pain. Like,
Yeah.
Girls wasn't even out yet.
No,
So it had to have been like 85, 86. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. They had Smoking in the Boys' Room.
Yeah,
Home Sweet
Theater
Home,
of Pain. It's all Theater of Pain.
and they showed the videos from Too Fast for Love and Shout at the Devil. So yeah, Girls hadn't come out yet.
Nope.
And I'll also take you to the Seventh Veil, which is where they shot the Girls video.
Sick.
Everybody thinks it's the Body Shop. That's where they had the after party for the release, but the actual video was shot at the Seventh Veil, which is right up the street.
Crazy, dude.
Dude,
Never
we're
ending.
dude, it never ends, and it's never gonna end. We're going to be crushing spots till we're old men.
I have no problem with that. I have no desire to stop. I love it. All I do, I look for spots all the time. All the time. Right before I came on with you, I'm taking screenshots from that new Netflix thing, The Watcher. Did you see it? I watched the whole thing. We finished it up last night. I'm taking screen because there's a lot of some of it's up in Westchester County, a little bit upstate New York, not that far, maybe an hour away from me. And the guy, the main character, he works in Manhattan. And I'm watching it, and whenever I watch something, I'm always like, where was this film? And I'm always looking. And then, but he works in Manhattan, and I saw exactly where he works. He works literally like in the show, like 3 blocks from where I work. He's on Lexington Avenue, and there's a shot where he's walking down the street, and there's the Chrysler building right behind him. I go to the post office on Lexington Avenue, like probably maybe 2 blocks one way or the other on Lexington all the time. I know exactly where it is. Like that's a hit I could do like on lunch break. Easy.
New York City is so frustrating for me because whenever I get home, I think, dude, I crushed everything. And then I'll look at a shot.
No, you didn't crush nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Well, here's the worst. There'll be 2 shots. Literally, all I had to do is turn around and take the picture from a different angle. And
I've done that 100 times. 100 times. Like, yo, we were just there last weekend. How, like there was a spot we went to go eat. It was a place called the Paris Cafe, right? And I don't remember, we didn't go back to the Paris Cafe, but I found like the next day, there was a shot of something. It was literally right, like if I would have instead, like we walked right over the corner of where this whatever shot was. I don't remember what it was. I'm like, we were right there yesterday. Like, it's right there. I can't believe it's right there. It's crazy. There's stuff. I walk past things. You have no idea, dude. For years, back and forth, every single day, back and forth to work. I'm walking past the New York Public Library on 42nd, right off of 5th Avenue. And it's the closing credits to that show, The Odd Couple, where Felix stops the cab and he holds the back handle of the cab door. Right behind him is the Brooklyn Public Library. In that shot, you see the Bank of America that I withdraw money from all the time. I had no idea it was right there, but I walk past that spot every single day, every day, twice a day.
Dude,
I had no idea.
That's how New York is. I went to Central Park, right? And there's the area where you can walk and it goes underneath and there's a big fountain. I can't remember the name of it, but I took a couple of
the Bethesda fountain.
Yeah, so I think there was a Matrix shot there.
There's a million. Yeah, there's a John Wick shot there.
It was John Wick. I'm sorry, you're right, John Wick. And so
I think I hit that.
I got the John Wick shot, and then me and my girl come home, and we're watching Billions, and literally that same episode of Billions. Yeah, he meets a guy, and he's in front of the. I'm like,
the original Manchurian Candidate is there. Frank Sinatra is there. The movie Ransom with Mel Gibson. The kid gets abducted right there on Bethesda Fountain. The Avengers right there, Bethesda Fountain. There's so much right there. And then like 300 feet away, you have the band shell, which, I mean, the lonely guy with Steve Martin. There's a picture that I hit of there from Joan Baez right before Woodstock is playing on there. Pete Steele, when he was still in Carnivore, Mad Young is playing on there. Like, there's the movie, I don't know if you ever seen it, but Audrey Rose, there's shots there. There's that shot, that clamshell, that band shell there's a million things right there. Central Park, there's a billion things you could do. There's a shot of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I hit one shot of the two pictures that I found from the same photo shoot, and I can't find exactly where this other one was because the entire picture, they're on these rocks, and there's like the shot, you can't see beyond the rocks, you can't see buildings behind it. It's just them in crazy positions on these rocks. And they're wearing the same exact clothes. It's the same photo shoot as this one picture I hit. And they were on like 70-something right off of in like Central Park West. They were on like this playground. And I found that. And I'm walking around there and I just can't find this. I have to literally look for rock formations and something high enough where three guys can, and I can't find it yet.
Right.
And it bothers me. And that's in Central Park. But there's nothing to go by. You literally have to go and look at rocks, you know? So,
dude, I was looking for, and I gave up on it because it started to rain. But you know, and I've seen other people hit it, but there's an early kiss shot of Gene and Paul walking down some steps in Central Park. And I can
Danny
never
hit that.
Yeah, Danny Johnson, I think, hit that.
Danny got that.
Yeah,
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know exactly where it is, but I've seen that Danny hit that and got that.
Yeah, that was on my list, and I just couldn't find it, so I just gave up. But you know, I hit the Alice in Wonderland, Jimi Hendrix over there.
But what the Alice in Wonderland statue?
Yeah,
I just recently did that for the Slick Rick children's story video.
Yeah, there's a great Jimi Hendrix photo of the guys there. God, it got to the point to where I would just see stuff and I'm like, I think this might be something, and I would just take a photo, you know, just in case. But Central Park, I thought, you know, this will be a layup. It's nothing but a layup. No, it's not a layup at all. It's a massive. It's
not a layup at all, because Central Park, a lot of it looks similar in certain shots, and so you got to kind of really look, and you need to up early in the morning, and just that's all I'm going to do is hit as much of Central, and you're not going to hit all of it, but you're going to hit as much of Central Park, because there's like Sheep's Meadow, which is a lot of stuff was on Sheep's Meadow, like Wall Street, and there's a lot of stuff that was hit there, but it just looks so much different because those movies were made in like the 80s and 90s, and the backdrop, like the skyline, is so much different. You know what I mean? You'll find 2 or 3 buildings that are the same, but everything else looks crazy because the skyline is so much different. Big, huge buildings and modern buildings, as opposed to smaller buildings and old school buildings and buildings that don't exist anymore that were taken down to replace them with these giant glass buildings and shit. So sometimes it's even harder because the backdrop is different.
And then I'm walking out at Central Park and I look up and there's the Dakota, John Lennon.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
oh, dude, all down Central Park West is shots everywhere, from Vanilla Sky to all of that, from Rosemary's Baby to all that Lennon stuff, Kramer versus Kramer. There's so much down just Central Park West alone. It's crazy. There's so much.
Every time I go to New York, I think I've like taken a bite out of that apple, but I haven't even put my teeth in it yet.
You didn't even break the skin.
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, there's so many shots I still want to get, but the last time I went, the main thing I wanted to hit was I had Andy Katz give me a list of things at Washington Square Park, so I was able to get a lot of stuff over there.
Sure. And, there's a ton.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff over there. Got a lot of the Beastie Boys, the original Def Jam building.
Uh-huh.
You know, I got a lot of that kind of stuff. And I wanted to do all city, so I finally went over to Staten Island. And I get home and I'm like, oh, I did pretty good. And sure enough, like I said, literally that night's episode of Billions was like Central Park, that fountain you're talking about. And I'm like,
yeah,
I was just standing right there, and I made
like I said, I live here, and it happens constantly, constantly, all the
Dude,
time.
So what's the Carlin stuff you've been doing has been crushing. The mob hits have been crushing. What's next up on your New York City? Do you just like carve out a thing and then go after that for a little while?
No, but it seems like lately that's what I've been doing, but it's not intentional at all. Like those mob hits, like we got wrapped up in those mob hit stuff, and that still happens. Like I still have mob stuff to hit. We'll just go all in on that, and then all right, we'll do something else. But then this whole Carlin thing, and like I said, like I wanted to make sure that when I got out of work last Saturday, I wanted to go up there because I never hit those shots of the ceremony of the unveiling of George Carlin Way, and I hit that on the 21st actually I hit that on the day, but I made sure that I was back home so I could mash them and post them on that day on the 9-year anniversary. So It just so happened that I took a bunch of screenshots from that documentary, and while I was right there, everything is like literally on that block, just a couple different angles. So it just seems like I did more than I really intended on doing because I'm right there anyway. You know what I mean? Right. But I still need to go back there because there's a spot that I need to hit of him in front of his old school, but I have to find the doorway. But that school right now, it's the church, and it's wrapped in scaffolding, so I want to wait. And then there's another shot where I thought it was in front of his house, but it's not. And then I want to try to get inside and take a picture of his front door.
Dude, the thing about your mob hits, and this is going to sound a little bit cheesy, but it's true.
No, it's not cheesy, bro. We do cheesy shit.
No. What
horror nerd shit, cheesy shit. It's whatever.
Someday those photos, because nobody's documenting that stuff. Someday somebody's going to hit you up about those photos. You could make a coffee table book out of it. You could do it, dude. Because everybody everywhere is obsessed with mob history, and nobody's covering it. Like I've learned so much from your little series about the clubs and who hung out there. Your details are so good, and you do your homework.
Sometimes I feel like I write too much. Like, is anyone actually even reading all this? But the few people that actually read all of it will know exactly what happened and why this happened. And that's like another thing when it comes to starting to hit mafia stuff. It starts out tiny, but every single thing with all of that mob stuff, in one way or the other, whether it's from 50 years ago to the present time, in different branches, everything is connected. Right. It's all connected one way or the other. It could be super convoluted and weighed down, but then this guy knew this guy worked for this guy fucked this guy over, this guy dead, and now this guy's dead. But this happened in this guy's area, and this happened, and it's just, and it becomes a thing. And then it's like, okay, it's like when we did the real life Lufthansa heist stuff that Goodfellas was based on. I went down rabbit holes, dude. Like in the movie, it's like Sam Jackson plays Stax Edwards. Stax was a real guy. His name was Purnell Stax Edwards. And he was part of the heist. And his job was to literally, like in the movie, get rid of the van. But he got high and he went to go see his girlfriend or whatever. And the police found the van that morning, found prints. He left a sneaker in it. And that matched up the sneaker with something back at the airport or some shit. And that's how they caught him. So now I'm going down, like, I need to find the actual photo, the real photo of the cops outside of that van. And I found it, but there's nothing really to go off of except for, okay, it's in Canarsie. I was born in Canarsie. Like I grew up as a little kid in Canarsie, but I'm looking and I can't really find it. So I'm going to articles and this and that and archives of the New York Times and this and that. And then they said like 90, let's say, I don't remember the exact street. Let's say 95th Street. Now 95th Street is big. You know what I mean? So there I am, like at work or something like that on Google Maps. And I'm going down my phone, going down the block, down 95th Street. And I'm looking and there's a unique like handrail in the background of someone's house that's different than the row of houses that are all connected on that block. So I'm like, I don't know. maybe that building is gone. Maybe it's been upgraded, but I'm going to go down the street on my phone and look for a specific handrail. And I found it. And I'm like, holy shit. And like a couple of days later, we went to Canarsie and I lined up and I matched the actual photo. And then like I found out the address of where he was literally hiding out when he got killed by Tommy. And I was outside of this house. There's like some Indian guy and he's outside. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And I started talking to him. And I was like, yeah, do you know what happened in the basement? Because it happened in the basement. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah. And next thing you know, there's like a couple of guys that come out in the backyard and we're bullshitting all about it. They knew that Stax was murdered in the basement. And they were telling me other shit that like, because Tommy DeSimone, the real Joe Pesci, thought it was like 2 doors down. And they were about to break into a wrong house. But then they realized they were in the wrong house, and that's when they found them in the basement. That's when they killed them in the basement. So I couldn't get to the basement, but I had the address and the whole story from the people that knew and what was going on of that spot, which is crazy because who the hell knows where Stax Edwards, the real guy, was really killed. You know what I mean? I did. And those guys did. Yeah, of course.
And that's why those photos are going to be important someday. They're important now, but some days. Because one thing I noticed my last couple of trips to New York is the construction and the rehabbing of fronts of buildings and stuff. That stuff is not going to look the same.
No, there's scaffolding fucking everywhere, dude.
But one photo did you do the David Blaine on St. Mark's?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yeah.
You know that same shot, 33 St. Mark Street, was Ray's cult bookstore in Ghostbusters 2. You can line that.
Yeah, but I hit that spot years ago, and I didn't even realize that until you just told me that.
But I
hit that and didn't have any idea.
Same spot, but I was bummed out because they tore the front part where Trash and Vaudeville used to be.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I used to go to Trash and Vaudeville, and that's gone. And then I'm going through Little Italy and Chinatown, and there's buildings being just mowed down left, right, and I know there's progress and you got to, kind of rehab.
Certain shit should just be left alone, man. There's so much old, beautiful architecture and the like crafty, shit everywhere that now it's just being replaced by these run-of-the-mill giant glass and mirror buildings, which is just like great. You know what I mean? But like, there's gargoyles on buildings still, and there's all this old school hand-carved shit that are just getting taken away for what? The word progress? Like, leave shit alone, man. Like, leave history where it's at. I don't know. It bothers me, though, sometimes. Certain shit, it's like, dude, leave shit alone, man.
Dude, I agree. And the thing is New York never really was like that until the last few years, and it just feels like there's this mad dash to rehab the city and everything. I was literally in my hotel in Chinatown, Little Italy, and I was talking to Andy Katz, and he was like, "Here, there's a great Van Halen photo in front of this mural, and it's on this street and this street." And I type it in, and it's the hotel I'm staying in. They had tore down the mural that, like, literally. I mean, dude, you're not gonna believe this, but the shot you just sent me is no longer exists, and I'm literally staying in the hotel where the shot.
Yeah, it's like people like, Times Square. Good luck. Good luck trying to find something in Times Square. Like, you might find a building way back in the distance that you could line up, but where the ball drops and all that shit, like everything is so much bigger, and all the building facades are covered in giant neon signs and all this LED shit. It's like this. It looks like it's daytime at midnight there. You know what I mean? So it's like, good luck, man. You could find an address and maybe be able to line up like a line of one building somewhere, but sometimes it doesn't even look like it's masked. Like, is it really there? But yeah, I mean, that's the location, but there's nothing to really go by because it's changed so much. There's different streets, there's sitting areas. It's streets are completely different. Like, something that what used to be like one lane is now 4 lanes. And then there's a seating area where this street literally used to be. So it's like, things get all fucked up in Times Square.
But that what was that peanut? The Mr. Peanut shot you got?
That was like Danny like sent me that picture. He was like, "Yo, go hit this." I'm like, "That's funny. It's easy though, because that's like 4 blocks from where I work." So
Right.
and I literally walked past that like a million times because I had my hair cut over there. So there's a spot of like the Road Warriors that Joe Challenger sent me. It's like, I know this spot. Like I walk past this all the time. Oh, they're standing right here. I got it. And I got home. I was on my way to get my hair cut. I was like, oh, click, click, click. There it is. Done. You know, the Mr. Peanut. There's Vanilla Sky. There was a shot that I was able to get from State of Grace that was actually I was able to mash. There's a couple of things, but for the most part, it gets a little hairy.
Well, dude, let me ask you this. I know we're running long, so just cut me off whenever you want to end this thing.
Jesus, we're going 2 hours already. That's insane.
Yeah, dude. Hey, we could go all night, but just cut me off when you're. But my next trip to New York, I think, is January, and I want to hit Warrior spots. How many? But how many are still line upable? Are they still there? There's
a lot of them that you can still do. Some of them you can't. Well, you can, but it's not going to line up properly because back when the Warriors was filmed, that was the time where you could still go under the boardwalk. Since then, and since Sandy and all that, the boardwalk, you can't go under it anymore.
Right.
So, like, there's a salt and pepper shot that we got from like the Shoot video or some stupid shit. And it looks a little bit weird because in the screenshot of the video, you see, because it's taken from the beach looking towards like the Wonder Wheel. So, and like the Cyclone. So, but you see in the picture that there's like a 6-foot gap from the beach to the top of the boardwalk. Now it goes beach right to boardwalk. So there's a difference there of sand, and the boardwalk is completely different than what it used to be. But there's shots like, dude, like it was last summer. My daughter wanted to go on the Thunderbolt, which is a roller coaster at night. I'm like, all right, so let's go. It's like right here. So, and Joe Schellinger has like this affinity for Coney Island. He's like, that place is like Oz to me. Like it doesn't exist. It's like a fictional place. It's like, you know what I mean? Right. So I just so happened to, because now whenever I see the Wonder Wheel, I think of Joe because of when we went all city together. We were on the Bell Park. He's like, is that Coney Island? Like, he was like, whoa. Like, he was so mesmerized by it. I found it funny, but I get it because he's not from here. But right. So I walked right past the Wonder Wheel and I was like almost right below it. And I took a picture and I sent it to Joe. I'm like, current situation. And I sent him the picture. 5 minutes later, he sent me a promo picture of a poster of the Warriors with the Wonder Wheel. I literally took that poster and mashed that picture.
Oh,
on a whim. Like, it was just like, I didn't even take it to mash anything. I just took the picture just to send to Joe, just like to mess with him a little bit. He sent me a poster and I mashed it when I got home. I was like, oh shit, it lines up perfectly. So there's Warrior stuff that you can get no problem. Another movie that's all over Coney Island is Requiem for a Dream. Everywhere.
Really?
All over Coney Island. Easy. Layups everywhere.
So still things still mash up for Requiem of a Dream.
A million. I went on a tear of that movie.
Dude, I gotta hit it up. And
there's a lot in Coney Island, and then like the next neighborhood over is Brighton Beach. Like that's where Ellen Burstyn lived, and the building where they're stealing the TV on the cart and stuff like that's all there. That's all exactly the same. Exactly. Except there's one where you've seen the movie, obviously, right? It's when the mother is mailing the letter in to be on the TV show, and it's an above head shot, and all of her friends are going with her to the mailbox, and she mails the letter. It's an overhead shot. That mailbox isn't there anymore, but there's a mailbox next to it, but you see the marks where the bolts used to be. So I stood on top of the mailbox next to it, and I did an above head shot to get that other photo, and you could see the marks where that mailbox used to be, but you could still find exactly where it is. Like there's all that. If you just look, just like I just hit a bunch of State of Grace stuff right across the street from the Finelli Cafe, which is the same exact block where Patrick Swayze at the end of Ghost, that happens on the same block. there's a giant, when State of Grace was filmed, there's a giant fire hydrant that's on the corner. That's not there anymore. But if you look, there's a big round spot in the concrete where you can see exactly where it was. So you could still, right. If you get that shot, you could still line up and match where that fire hydrant was to get everything lined up properly. You just got to look a little bit, and sometimes you'll see hints of what used to be there still.
Dude, I got to link up with you next time I come up to New York City.
Let me know. We'll fucking go on a mission. I'm down.
Dude, I'll
go hit warrior spots. I'll fucking go to Coney Island where you hit warrior spots. Whatever.
Dude, I'm all the way in it. All the way in it.
Just like when we go out to California, I'm linking up with you and Nako and Danny Johnson and Randy.
Oh, dude, you're gonna want to stay for. You can stay for a month. It's
dude, I wanted to stay in Texas. I wanted to stay in fucking Oklahoma. Like,
right.
I'm not going to want to go home. I already know that. And I already know that there's going to be a million spots that I'm not going to be able to hit. And then I'm going to make another plan to the following year to go back to California to hit the Slumber Party Massacre from San Francisco. Like, you know, stupid shit.
Dude, I got Slumber Party Massacre shots in LA. Dude, there's so much.
There's a bunch in San Francisco, isn't there? I have a whole folder. I was like the other night, I was taking screenshots. I have a whole shitload from Slumber Party Massacre.
All those 80s horror movies like House. You remember House and all that?
Yeah, on the VCR cover it says Ding Dong, You're Dead. Of course. Yeah. I know all that shit, dude.
all that stuff is in LA. But dude, we got to link up. And when I come up to New York City, I think it's coming in. I think I'm coming up there in January.
All right.
But I'd love to spend an afternoon if you can spare it and hit up some warrior spots because dude, I'm a stranger. Like in LA's like home base for me, but New York, I'm a stranger in New York.
I'll be definitely more available on a Saturday or a Sunday though, because during January it's the middle of the winter and my building is a shit show when it comes to heat and leaks and all that shit. So, and plus by the time I get out of work, it's going to be dark out. So on a weekend, on a Saturday or a Sunday, during the day, earlier during the day, when the sun is out, so you can go and hit spots during the day of warriors, I'm down.
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it. Let me know. Plug all your social media stuff and your little podcast that you do on Instagram and all that stuff, and then we'll get out of here because we're going 2 hours and 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude, it's been awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Man, we could go for another 3 hours, but dude, we'll do a part 2 down the line.
Let's do a part 2 whenever you're ready. If anybody wants to find me, you can get on Instagram. I have a page called Nerd Locations. I do a little live stream called Secure the Trophy, where I talk to people kind of the same sort of stuff about finding spots. And
you had me on there. I was on there.
Yeah, I had you on there. I had Andrew Katz. That's where we first came up with the idea of having Andy interview you about your show.
That's right. That's right. You were like live or something. Wasn't I like outside of work?
Yeah, you logged in. I'm like, dude, we got to get Andy to interview you for the
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I was like out on 45th Street. Like it was all loud and shit. Yeah, that's right. I was outside of work like for like 15 minutes, like bullshit with you guys. That's right.
But most importantly, I'm a Delta Bravo guy. So if anybody wants to follow me, just go to Delta Bravo and type in Rayen, Rayen, and you'll see all my smashes that I put up there. And yeah, man, Delta Bravo does it better.
Damn
and
right.
Let's see, I'm trying to find my thing. And if anybody out there has made it this far, go to the Outsiders House Museum. Quality calls and buy something, donate to the museum and support the cause, because what we do is not easy, and we spend our own money doing it to entertain you. So, and plus we give up the addresses. So, go support the cause, everybody.
And if people don't already know, which at this point, if you've been listening to these last 12, 13 episodes, if it wasn't for Danny Boy being on tour and finding the Outsiders House, this wouldn't even be a thing. It would be a thing. It wouldn't be a Delta Bravo thing. We wouldn't know each other.
No.
So if it wasn't for Danny Boy and the Outsiders House in Tulsa, there wouldn't be any. That's why whenever every year I'm going to go on a road trip, if it's at all feasible or possible, of course, it's going to be a stop in Tulsa, because technically the Outsiders House Museum is Delta Bravo headquarters.
Well, I'm going to make that trip soon enough. And I got to get there because I feel like a poser because I rep Delta so hard and I haven't been to the house yet. So.
Listen, life happens, bro. I've been hitting spots since 2016, and I just got there last summer. So
well, fair enough, man. Jimmy, it's been a blast, brother. Thank you for having me on.
Anytime, brother. And we'll definitely. I'm gonna send you, not tonight though because I'm tired and I have a long day tomorrow again. But I'm gonna send you a few addresses or screenshots or however the hell you want me to send it to you of my hits that I have so far that I want to hit in Cali.
Yeah,
maybe you could just give me an assist with what's where exactly. So I'll wind up doing like the little nitty grit, like the small little things, but like I need to know what's where, and this and that, because the stuff that I send you, there's guaranteed going to be more. Something might drop off, something might replace something. So there's going to be a bunch of changes, probably about a week until before we leave. So, but I just need the gist of the layout of especially the LA, Santa Monica, Venice, Long Beach area.
Send me all the stuff you got. And what I'll do is I'll divide it up. I'll say Santa Monica, and then I'll list everything you want to hit that's in Santa Monica. Then I'll do Venice, Huntington Beach, Long Beach, Hollywood Hills, Beverly Hills, West Hollywood. And I'll make a list. I've done that before for friends where I'll just be like, you want to hit the Chatsworth, you want to hit the Wave Cave and the Spawn Ranch and the Bad News Bears and E.T. House, the Exorcist, or Poltergeist House, the Lone Ranger rocks out there. I'll break it all down for you. So get a master list and we'll work on being able to show you, like when you're in Santa Monica, you can go, okay, I have a list of everything I want to hit. It's all right here.
Right.
So
I also need what city is the most northern? Because I need to hit that first. Let's just say it's Santa Monica, which I don't know. And then let's say it's that, and then I need to hit also and then go to with the next city and then hit those. And then from north to south, I need to go.
Dude, I can take you up to Malibu where the end of Planet of the Apes where the Statue of Liberty is.
I need to go there. Like I need to go to the Karate Kid spot. I need to go to Elizabeth Shue's house. I need to go to the beach where they're playing soccer on that beach.
It's right where the Statue of Liberty is. It's right around this thing.
I had a feeling it was. I was looking at those pictures and I'm like, this might be the same spot as Planet of the Apes, the ending of the original.
Planet Apes is at a place called Point Dume, D-U-M-E. And then if you go into the desert a little ways, you're right there at the What's in the Box scene from 7. And then if you go a little bit deeper, you can get to the Kill Bill Church. Dude, we're going to hook you up. You're going to be set, man. We're going to take care of you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Jimmy, my friend, this has been awesome, man. Let's 100%. Do it another time.
Absolutely. We'll delve into some fucking Vinnie Vincent invasion and fucking and all that fucking horrible but awesome shit show of glam metal.
Yes, sir, man. All right, Jimmy.
Be good, my man.
Over and out, brother. Talk to you soon.
Later, brother.